Life is a very beautiful thing because unlike everything else, you only get one life, and it is your job to make something out of it. You have seen many famous athletes like Antonio Brown, Henry Ruggs, race their immense talent, making some very dumb decisions. But then we have seen athletes like Max Crosby, Darren Waller break the brinks of what is possible by overcoming their drug addiction. And Jaquan Brisker looks to also do that, looks to overcome the brinks of what is possible and make himself a star safety in the NFL. A feat that he's already accomplishing as he was ranked as a top 10 safety by NFL.com. This is the story of Jaquan Brisker, and I am your host, Advaith Kumar. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and make sure you hit bell icon so you know whenever I post. And with that being said, let's dive right in today's video. Jaquan Brisker grew up in Gateville, Pennsylvania, a pretty predominant town, and growing up, Jaquan Brisker was surrounded with sports and surrounded with some sports talent. His mother was into sports, his aunt was into sports, his whole family was into sports, and his grandfather, John Brisker, was a star basketball player who played in the ABA and then in the NBA after the ABA folded. And he played with fire, he played with aggressiveness, and he was a guy who would fight for that ball. He was a guy who would do whatever it takes to score and do whatever it takes to help his team win. And he would often get in fights with players and even refs. He even got into a fight with Bill Russell. And off the court, he was a person who pushed for racial inequality, and he would have basketball opponents for underprivileged youth. Unfortunately, despite him being a star on and off the field, he would develop a drug habit, which would eventually end his NBA career. After his NBA career would end, John Brisker would pack up and move to Uganda, and he would be pronounced as missing and losing touch with his family. In 1985, he was pronounced as dead, leaving behind his two daughters, Melanie Brisker, Jaquan Brisker's mom, and Juwan Davis, Jaquan Brisker's aunt. And there are many theories on why John Brisker went to Africa. Some claim that he does not want to be found, and he is still alive to this day somewhere in the world. Now, despite not having a relationship with his father, Jaquan Brisker would have a really, really good life. At the age of 12, he was a water boy for his high school football team, the Gateville Graders. And even though he was just a water boy, he wanted to get involved. He wanted to be in the huddle. He wanted to play alongside with his brothers, Tail and Sean. The head coach of the Gateville Graders, Tail Smith, had this to say about Jaquan Brisker. He's been in there trying to hit guys. Guys had pads on, he didn't have pads on, so we put him on some drills. But he just loved it. He was always around. He said back drills. He was doing back drills with us. He was just a sponge. And Jaquan Brisker was very, very close with his older brother, Tail Smith, and he had dreams to play alongside him at Gateville. But all that changed on February 5th, 2015, in Jaquan Brisker is junior year, right before he would start on varsity.
University. 19-year-old Tali Lamar Brisker from Turtle Creek, one of two people shot at this apartment complex.
I was the last person in the family that he's seen. We had a great conversation. He just told me that, he feel like, I'm gonna be, the person to make it.
That's just tough, to lose your brother, to lose your best friend, to not have the opportunity to play alongside his role model. And Jaquan Brisker was in the deep of it. He was in a really bad place and he needed someone to lean on. Enter Coach Rivers. Coach Rivers also lost his brother, and Jaquan Brisker and Coach Rivers would develop a relationship that only football brings. That brotherhood. On the football field though, Jaquan Brisker struggled to find any stability. His head coach left for Penn State when Jaquan Brisker entered his junior year, and he was with a brand new coach, Don Hall. But luckily for Jaquan, he was talented, and had defensive coordinator Montan Ivy, who had spent 4 years in the NFL, found ways for Jaquan Brisker to play multiple positions to show his talent. Don Hall talked about how Jaquan Brisker could play at a high-end level and how he could play at multiple positions and how talented he was and how he stepped up as a leader, and things were starting to turn around for Jaquan Brisker. This translated to his game. In one of the games, Gateville played Penn Tafford, and Jaquan Brisker made two ridiculous plays and topped the icing off by having a punt return for a touchdown. Then against Armstrong, Coach Ivy told Jaquan Brisker about a certain check based on the formation of the offense. And Jaquan Brisker saw that he had to make a play, and as luck would have it, Armstrong ran that exact same formation. Jaquan Brisker came up, recognized the route, and picked off the ball with 2 feet in bounds. When asked about his performance, Coach Ivy had this to say about Jaquan. It was one crazy play from a young man having just learned a new system. With Jaquan Brisker performance, it should come at no surprise that accolades would come. Jaquan Brisker would be named the team's MVP. He'd be named a first-team All-American. However, in the classroom, Jaquan Brisker would struggle. It would be hard for him to show up in class, and he would often have to sit out for games because of his grades. But Jaquan Brisker did not let that define him, and he strove to get better in his senior year of high school. And when asked about this, Chicago-based rookie minicamp, Jaquan Brisker had this to say: "From my high school football to here, it's been a lot of hard work behind closed doors, a lot of maturity, a lot of accountability to make sure I'm on point with everything and make sure I'm doing everything right," Brisker said, and then I'm making sure I'm making my family happy. When it came to decision day, Jaquan Brisker had two choices based on his grades and based on his GPA. He would either have the opportunity to rock on to Toledo, where he would gray shirt, or he'd go to a local community college, Lackawanna, a college that Kevin White, Mark Gonsowski had gone to. Jaquan Brisker would decide to go in the junior football route. He would enroll in Lackawanna with a mission to get his grades up and his mission to work hard and get into an FBS school. As soon as Jaquan Brisker went to Lackawanna, he would cement himself as someone who wanted to get better, someone who wanted to improve himself to FBS school. Jaquan Brisker would often call Lackawanna's head coach, Mike Dada, and talk about how the team can do better and what they should do in the next practice. He wanted to win, and he had ideas, and he was not afraid to show it. In Jaquan Brisker's first game against Georgia Military College at Marshall Stadium, Lackawanna led 41-30, and GMC had the ball on 3rd and 10 at the Lackawanna 20 with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left. Brisker's assignment was to cover GMC's slot receiver, a very speedy wide receiver, and in 3rd and 10, Brisker underthrew the route, high-pointed the ball, and picked it off for a pick 6. Jaquan Brisker would finish that year with 4 picks, 54 tackles, 6 tackles, and as a sophomore, he would finish the year with 64 tackles, 17 tackles for losses, and 9 sacks. Following his 2 years at junior college, Jaquan Brisker would be the top JUCO safety in the safety, and he had multiple offers from multiple schools. But he would eventually decide to take his talent to their hometown team, Penn State, and where he could reunite with his old coach, Terry Smith. In 2019, Jaquan Brisker was mostly a reserve player, but despite that, he still found a way to make an impact and appeared in all 13 games and managed to have 2 picks. In the pandemic season, Jaquan Brisker would cement himself as a starting in every single game, and he would have 57 tackles, 3 tackles for losses, 7 pass deflections, and 1 pick. In 2021, in the season opener against Wisconsin, with Penn State up 16-10 with 2:15 left, on 4th and goal, Graham Mertz stepped back, looked to throw the game-winning touchdown, but Jaquan Brisker wouldn't let that happen. He would pick it off, winning the game for Penn State and really showing his clutch genes. He would finish that season with 38 solo tackles, 25 assisted tackles, and he would have 2 picks. Following his 3 years at college, Jaquan Brisker would enter the NFL draft, and at the NFL Combine, he would run a 4.45, and on the bench press, he would have 22 reps on 225 pounds. Following his performance at the NFL Combine, scouts gave Jaquan Brisker a prospect grade of 6.36, classifying him as a starter. Scouts raved about Jaquan Brisker's ability to play through pain, as he was in pain for much of the 2021 season. His ability to play multiple safety positions as he played multiple positions in high school and in college, roles like the post and the box. His quickness, his footwork, his skills to read the quarterback, track the ball, and ability to find takeaways were all some of his strengths that scouts raved about. His weaknesses, though, were that he tended to stare the quarterback down. Pursuits, recognition of route combinations were average at best. Despite the weaknesses like the lack of recognition of route combinations, his strengths is his ability to find turnovers, his ability to read the quarterback, his ability to read the wide receivers is what really drove Ryan Poles to drop Jaquan Brisker, his second pick, with the 48th pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Ryan Poles talked about Jaquan Brisker's pre-snap awareness and his ability to make plays. 2 things that Jaquan Brisker has already showed early on into the Bears season, and early on, he really emerged as a free safety opposite Eddie Jackson. Even after a brief contract holdup, it was pretty obvious that Jaquan Brisker would be a stud. He was making plays in rookie minicamp, in training camp, and fans couldn't wait for Jaquan Brisker to finally hit that field. And in preseason, Jaquan Brisker certainly did it. He had 3 solo tackles, 1 tackles for losses, and 1 pass deflected. Now, none of these numbers jump out as being amazing, but for a rookie to go out and have an impact, to play with a broken thumb like Jaquan Brisker would have, which would eventually hold on for the rest of the preseason, is something that is truly remarkable and truly hints that Jaquan Brisker is going to be a star player in the NFL. Jaquan Brisker would promise that he would recover in time for the Chicago Bears' Week 1 matchup against the 49ers, and that is exactly what he did. Against the 49ers, Jaquan Brisker would have 4 tackles and really allow Eddie Jackson to be Eddie Jackson. To go back to his 2018 South Packers, Jaquan Brisker would have 7 solo tackles, 3 assisted tackles, and then against the Texans, he would have 4 tackles, and in his coming up party against the Giants, he would have 5 tackles for losses, 4 of them which were solo tackles, and 1 sack. In a game where many analysts, fans, practically the entire world told us the Chicago Bears are not going to beat the Patriots, Jaquan Brisker was one of the main reasons on why the Chicago Bears dismantled the New England Patriots. And against the Patriots, Jaquan Brisker had 5 solo tackles and 2 assisted tackles. And then he had the play of the game, the play that changed the complete trajectory of Chicago Bears game against the New England Patriots. He picked off Mac Jones after he kind of overthrew his receiver with one hand, making one of the greatest interceptions that the world has ever seen. And that caused the New England Patriots to bench Mac Jones in favor of Bailey Zappi. Now, you guys might be thinking, wow, Jaquan Brisker after the game, he must have had a lot of text. I wonder what that was like. Well, I mean, we don't really know the answer to that question just yet, as Jaquan Brisker announced that he kind of forgot his phone back home in Chicago, and he didn't even have his phone at all throughout the trip to New England. I just thought that was pretty interesting, so I wanted to share that. Going back to Jaquan Brisker's play, Jaquan Brisker leads all rookie safeties with a 45.3% passer rating allowed currently. Furthermore, for what it's worth, it's PFF, so take it with a grain of salt, but Jaquan Brisker registered a 90.2 grade from PFF, the highest out of any Chicago Bears player against the Patriots. In short, Jaquan Brisker has really proved that Ryan Poles really got a steal in the second run. He's really proving to be a great addition in the backfield, and he's really proving to become one of the best safeties, and possibly a safety just like Advaith. I mean, the way that both of these guys, their ability to recognize play, their ability to have hard hits, their ability to make plays, to get interceptions, to create turnovers, they're just so similar in their games. Jaquan Brisker might just be the next Ed Reed. But I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Jaquan Brisker? Do you think he's a steal? What do you think Jaquan Brisker's NFL comparison is? Don't forget to smash that like button if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for my channel for more videos like this. And for those who are already subscribed, who have been with me since day 1, I'm sorry for not posting a whole lot, but I hope you enjoyed today's video, and with that all being said, bear down.